not doing music the intention of like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to get famous and I'm doing this because I want to get big. So I'm gonna listen to what the everybody else wants to listen to, and then I'm gonna make
Yeah.
that. It's like nah, it's kind of taking it upon yourself to um, make what you need to make for yourself, and then sharing it with everybody.
He's a Canadian rapper. He won the 2019 Prison Prize. You may know him from his songs The Avenue or Interesting. Please welcome Clairmont the Second to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm not bad. Just taking it easy, getting some work done. How about you? How are you doing?
Yeah, yeah. Pretty good, starting back the school year, getting into that flow. But still trying to keep up with some creative sides like this. What was your first, experience with music like, or what first made you get into wanting to make music?
Yeah, I mean the whole family, my whole family does music and art in some sort of capacity. So
Mm-hmm.
me getting into making music was like only a matter of time. My dad's siblings, my older siblings, make music. They do visual art. My little sister, same thing. She dances and sings and just in the arts period. So it was only a matter of time before I hopped in. So I started playing drums around like 4, 5 years old, and then my older brother taught me how to produce, and I used to produce with my dad when I was around that age too. So music was kind of in the bloodline the whole my whole life. So it was only a matter
Yeah.
of time. So yeah, music's kind of been around.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of, upcoming new artists sort of, especially if they want to get more on the technical side, producing, mixing, mastering, they have trouble learning that. I'm happy that you had someone, close to you in your family that could, teach you the ropes, show you around,
Yeah,
uh,
I mean,
teach you.
yeah, I was gonna say like, you know, um, a lot of the things like that I started learning were more about like making music itself and using programs, and then over time, like, um, with the help of just like the internet and using my ears, I've been able to kind of like get my music to sound exactly how I want it, from the way I mixed it. And because like even then, like I'm the only one like in my immediate family who really like mixes like that. My brother only started doing mixes like his own mixes a little bit later on. Um,
Yeah,
maybe like some years ago though, some years ago. But that's just kind of like learning from them and then like taking what knowledge they had for me and knowledge they had period and just kind of turning that into something else and taking it further, picking up different skills and whatnot. But yeah,
yeah.
being in that environment definitely helps.
So now when you, release music, do you still have a hand in the production, the mixing, the mastering? Do you kind of try to do all that? Yeah, and, you know,
Yeah.
I just think that's awesome because I think when artists take the time to produce their own stuff, learn how to mix and master it, just gives a more real or authentic feel for what they sound like rather than finding a song that has an artist on it and then you look and it's like someone else produced it or two other producers were on it and
Yeah.
they had like nothing to do with the production and
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
like, yeah, till this day, like I handle everything. I handle like the mixes, I handle the mastering, the production, directing on my videos. I do that with B, who shoots my videos and also takes my photos. But like I have to have a hand in it because that way I'm able to kind of craft everything down to a T, and it doesn't just feel like whenever I put out an album, it's like a collection of songs. It more so feels like a whole experience from top to bottom, or even the way the videos connect to the music as well, and the way the rollout connects merch items and
yeah,
things like that, and kind of just doing it all with like the good intention, and also like being very intentional with the moves that you're making. And not just doing things because this is what you're supposed to do, but doing things because this is what the project or the art calls for. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so, I guess on top of, trying to keep a hand in the creative side, what other tips or advice would you give to new artists, new rappers coming up trying to, make their own music?
I definitely think that you got to remember that like um at least one thing that helped me kind of get past this. I've had like a recent kind of like I guess like a funk that I was in a little bit, and just trying to figure out a way to get out of that. But like One of the things that helped me is realizing that nobody cares more than you do about little nitpicky things. Like no one cares more than you.
Yeah.
So if your whole thing was like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna like this, I don't know if they're gonna, you know, how they're gonna take this, and it's like, I mean, like not all music is mixed the same. Not all music sounds the same. Not all music is, comes from the same point of view. So I think you just gotta essentially just do it and just keep making and if it wasn't for me kind of putting things out at the volume that I was putting them out, but also just kind of with that kind of unapologetic energy and just doing it because I love to make music and you know sharing my art with the world and not doing music the intention of like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to get famous and I'm doing this because I want to get big. So I'm gonna listen to what the everybody else wants to listen to, and then I'm gonna make
Yeah.
that. It's like, nah, it's kind of taking it upon yourself to um, make what you need to make for yourself, and then sharing it with everybody. And there's gonna be a group of people in the world that like resonate and feel that project or whatever that is. So definitely just keep doing it, but also like don't think too hard. You kind of just gotta let what naturally comes to you come to you, and that's what you put out, and that's what you make, and that's what you construct.
And, you know, were you kind of accepting that, it was gonna be music from the start? Or, did you ever was there ever anything you thought about doing, but then, tried to stick with music because that's, what everyone around you doing, that's what everyone in your family is doing?
So luckily, because like my family did so many different things in the arts, I had kind of like a few different avenues. If I wasn't
Mhm.
doing music as my main avenue, like it would be something in the arts either way,
Yeah.
whether that's like directing videos, you know what I'm saying, or uh, maybe making a cartoon. That's what I thought I was gonna do. I thought I was gonna be an animator. I was doing a lot of like drawing growing up because my older siblings they were amazing artists. Um, my brother used to do graffiti. My sister
Mhm.
paint. Like it was a whole thing. So I would have done something like that. I probably would have been an animator, but then as I've been doing this music thing for as long as I have, and I'm at this point in my career. I've kind of been thinking about like where do I belong, and not just doing something because this is what I'm known as. Like people know me as Clairmont the Second artist, but um, honestly, it's kind of like I don't even know if I'm the artist anymore. I don't know
Yeah.
if I'm supposed to be the artist. I don't know if I'm supposed to be like just the producer or just the director or just the creative consultant, like things like that. Like and kind of just not thinking too hard about where I'm supposed to be, but just kind of making things and then kind of going where I'm needed. That's been my new, um, I guess, motive. Just kind of going where I'm needed and fitting
Yeah.
in where I'm supposed to be, as opposed to like but also going where I want to go. There's somewhere I want
Yeah.
to go. I'll do that too. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So, since that shift in mentality, since trying to go where you're needed, have you seen any like differences maybe in your workflow, in your, in the content you end up with, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple differences. Like one of the main things is kind of like I feel like I'm enjoying art again, like I used to. It got to a point where I was trying to do it like this and trying to do it like that, as opposed to just kind of like letting things flow. And as I've been doing that, like and kind of be and have been more accepting of what's been presented to me, rather than always constantly like looking and trying to get this, trying to get that, and being disappointed when I don't. It's kind of just like being patient and be very accepting of like whatever comes my way, and just being grateful for the opportunities and being grateful that I'm able to, you know, have this talent and use it to make music that connects with people or make art that connects with people. So, but like yeah, a lot of cool opportunities have come in that weren't for Claremont the artist. Things have come that was
Yeah.
for Claremont the producer or Claremont the consultant or Claremont this that, and not just like the artist, and that's what I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna be. So yeah, like I used to be mad at that thing. I used to be mad that like, yo, but I do this. Why aren't people asking me to do this? But now, um, just whatever your people ask me to be a part of, like yeah, sure, I'll do that. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I felt like it's career wise, it's been more easy on my brain, a lot lighter on stress and taking more time with myself and more time with everything that I'm doing as a whole.
And so do you find that you're sort of more reflective, I guess, or like thinking back on past projects?
Um, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah.
usually yeah, I was gonna say I'm usually in a space where I'm reflecting on a lot of things. So,
Yeah.
but
So
also, yeah, you're gonna say,
so
sorry.
just do you think that, reflection on previous work kind of helps you improve for the next one or make the next one even better?
Um, I think that I think it can, but I usually turn. Um, I heard this quote. It was about a certain anime, and I was watching this anime. Um, and I was watching it with the with other anime shows in mind, and just kind of other
Yeah.
things I've been watching at the same time in mind, rather than letting that show be its own thing. And once I let that show be its own thing, um, I ended up being I ended up enjoying a lot more things. That being said, I find that applies to everything. You know, that even applies to when you're working on your own art. Like let your next endeavor, your next project be that project. It doesn't have to be like the rest of them. So if there's anything I do when I listen to old projects, sometimes I just listen to old projects just to listen to them to see where I was at. But um, other times I don't really use it as like a point of reference. I'm constantly improving my skills, and it's not like I'm necessarily trying to make something from what I made, but it so happens that like I have a different concept or a different idea for this new project. So I'm just gonna full full flex dive into this.
Yeah.
In terms of like reflecting on the previous work, what that helps me do is kind of gives me the skills to like um more so like if I if I learn how to do something and I like maybe I forgot how to do it, I'm like, how did I do it on this? And then I'll backtrack and be like, okay, that's how I did it on this, and I can see how I
Yeah.
can take it further. But for the
Yeah.
most part, like yeah, just kind of like even detaching from other projects is also probably a way you need to approach your next projects, because that allows that next project to be its own thing as opposed to being too heavily influenced on your old
Yeah.
work. So
Yeah. So that, detachment from previous projects, it works to allow new projects to sort of take their own form. But I've also spoken with artists who, like their first projects or what they started out as, they just, try to completely detach from it because, maybe they think that they're not like that it's not very good. They think, they're no longer proud of it. Do you find that with any of your music, or do you think you kind of think that
nah.
you're proud of everything that you've put out. Yeah, and that's awesome to
I love
come
it
across.
all. Yeah, I love it all.
Yeah.
Like I think that they all have their place. So like even when I say detaching from those projects, like I don't even mean it in a way of like, oh, I'm throwing it away, like it's whack. I don't want anyone to hear it, because all my music is still up. Like from the first
Mhm.
thing I put out to like you know up until recently, everything is up and it'll stay up because I like people viewing the process. And
Yeah.
for people that have been around for a very long time, for years since I've like first started making music, they've like literally witnessed me grow up online. Like you could see my face change, like my hair
Yeah.
change and clothes and things like that. So yeah, like I'm proud of all of the work, and I think that there's like obviously not every like the stuff I was making now is not as good as stuff I was making today, but you could kind of see that I was gonna end up here, and you could see the progress, and you could see um just the whole you could see the
You
whole
can follow
story.
the, little improvements that you've made here and there.
Exactly. And like I knew that I was onto something, that like every time I dropped a new project, it was better than the last one, and just like musically doing different things that like on the next one that were like not like the last one. And you don't really know when you're so close to it, but sometimes when you're years away and you go back, you're like, yo, this is
Yeah.
crazier than this, and this is this, but like this also has like the DNA of this, and like it's kind of like my own universe, like a MCU type thing, but it's the Claremont universe, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. And super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program. Once you sort of had some music under your belt, some music released, what was your first live performance like, or your first show like?
I mean, I think my first rap performance ever. I was performing um next to my I was performing with my brother actually because he had a song and I'm like, yo, let me put a verse on it, and it was at this community event. Um, I can't remember which one was first. Yeah, so I used to do community events.
Yeah,
Um, and there was something called Freedom Fridays that was in like the Jane and Finch area of where I'm from. Um, Toronto's the city, so
yeah,
we would do some there would be community events, and I did a performance with him. I can't remember if that was the first one or the second one. That might have been the second one, but the first one was also with him, same song, and it was at a event called Get Nakfa, which like is no longer in, like they don't do it anymore. But I remember it being super sick. Like I was young. I don't think I was old enough to even be in there. Um, and yeah, I remember kind of like I remember everything. Like I remember
yeah,
just kind of like the verse starting and then me just going and going and kind of blanking out and just going and going, and everyone was like, "Oh snap!" And because I was young too, so obviously it was a little impressive. But
yeah.
um, yeah, I was like, that's like early high school, I believe. I think that's like maybe grade 9, maybe grade 10. Can't remember exactly, but um,
Hmm.
yeah,
And
that was like the first performance.
so being able to, work with your brother on a song, do you try to keep it, collaborative with him, or did you ever, experience any competition at all between each other? What's that sort of like, doing the same thing as your brother?
Yeah, there's always like that like friendly competition, nothing serious, but
Yeah,
like yeah, it's usually been like pretty cool. Like we don't have many songs together. Um we have like countable. Maybe like I think I featured on maybe one of his songs and he's featured on two of mine. And then he's produced like a couple of my songs in my catalog. But
mhm,
for the most part it's been pretty smooth, it's been pretty chill, it's been pretty fun,
yeah,
and like it's always that friendly thing of like, yo, who killed who on what track. But like now that I think about it, I haven't even had that conversation with him in a long time. Like even the last thing I had him on, my song Clock Out on my album, It's Not How It Sounds, like it was like, yo, I need this verse. He sent me the verse and that was
yeah,
that. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
yeah, man, it's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. Like I work with people that I um or like I put people on my projects that I'm like either like big fans of or friends of mine. And so far, it's only been people that have been like homies and stuff. I'm still fans of my homies, but it's been
yeah.
pretty small. But I featured on things here and there. But yeah,
Hmm. And so, in 2019, you won the Prism Prize
the High
for your
Fidelity
music.
Award.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the High Fidelity Award. And then the next year you were in contention again for it. What was that sort of continued success like for you? Did it sort of give you a feeling of, pride or accomplishment?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty cool because like so what Prism Prize awards like for those who don't know the best Canadian music video.
yeah,
And I always like my thing was like, oh man, I'm gonna be the first like artist to like win the prison prize. So I haven't gotten the prison prize grand prize before, but I got this thing called the
Okay.
High Fidelity Award, and the High Fidelity Award is awarded to like artists with like very strong visual identity and kind of like carving out their own lane. And, like when you see some work from that artist, you're like, oh yeah, of course this is his work. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like that heavily identifiable like
You see the style sort of it.
exactly. So that was cool, but like to be nominated at the prison prize like a few years now, I believe. I think I've been nominated maybe 3 times or
Yeah.
so, and to be nominated for that is really cool. It shows that in a scene where I feel like as a music artist, I wasn't getting as much like love from my peers, um,
Mhm.
or even the industry really. Like I felt like I wasn't getting love. I still feel like it's kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah.
But like from a film perspective, in a visual perspective, to be shown that love in industry space is like really really cool. It's something that doesn't really happen too often. So I'm definitely very very grateful for that, and like obviously as an artist now, like I would say like it's still a little bit interesting in the city, but like I've been meeting like amazing people and reconnecting with amazing people through you know, in regards to the music world as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that the nomination, all that other stuff is like I'm very grateful for that, and I'm happy that people are you know showing me that kind of love and showing me that kind of respect. Like I don't need it for validation to keep making art, but it's like it's cool that people are seeing it. Like it means a lot to me. I don't take it for granted.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, music, it's great that you've experienced success, but I'm sure like almost every artist you've probably experienced, maybe not failure, but funks as you called it earlier,
Yeah, yeah.
valleys. Was there ever a moment that sort of made you like second guess music or think of it was really the right choice for you?
All the time, all the time, and it's funny because like I even mentioned it to you earlier, where I don't know if I'm supposed to be the artist or if I'm supposed
Hmm.
to be So like even that in itself is kind of like questioning it. Like even
Yeah.
people tell me all the time, like, nah, you're supposed to be the artist. You're like keep making music and stuff like that. And it's like, yo, I understand and like I appreciate that a lot, but like to even to like eventually I gotta eat. You know what I'm saying? Like eventually I
Yeah.
gotta have dinner. I gotta pay bills. Like, and I'm not saying like I'm doing this just to do that, but like there's other things that I think like maybe I even for myself, from like money aside, that maybe I feel like doing this today. Maybe I just feel like doing that, and like am I supposed to even be making music at this rate? Like the rate I was going before, I was putting out an album like every year, every year, every year.
Yeah.
There's a lot. I have a big catalog, and now I'm trying to slow it down actually. Like now I'm trying to take more time with it. Obviously the
Yeah.
projects and the concepts are getting bigger, so that's why they're also taking more time, but I'm also giving myself a lot more to, and just being patient with myself. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm always like music, like I love it,
Yeah.
and like it's what I do. Like this is how I grew up, but sometimes you question it. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, slowing down with these projects, sort of giving yourself some space or some time with them. Have you found at all that makes it better quality? That you think they end up being better.
I think that what slowing down the project has allowed me to build on my ideas a lot more.
Hmm.
And I think so so you could even say like what you said, like it does like make it better because it makes it bigger. You know what I'm saying? Not even from a skill perspective, but just from like a whole world. Like I'm interested in building environment and experiences rather than just like I built the visual aspect and the music aspect and now I'm putting it out. Because before I
Yeah.
would just I'd kind of go really really fast and I burnt myself out. But also I haven't really created worlds as big as the one I'm doing right now. And the fact that like my last release, the rollout is still in is I'm still going. It's not done,
Yeah.
and people will know more about that in a bit. But yeah, it definitely gives you more time to like even to like take a step back and just like you start thinking about more things. Of like, all right, what shows am I gonna do? Where am I gonna do these shows? Like when I decide to have a headliner, what is it gonna look like? What is it gonna feel like? How is it gonna coincide with the intention of the project itself. And it just gives you more time to flesh out a lot more, because I'll admit, like, I wasn't really fully fleshing out things like I am now, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
But now that I'm doing it, it feels a lot better because I'm also being a lot more patient, and I'm not antsy all the time and on edge. Like, I need to get this done by this time and this, but no one cares. You know what I'm saying? No, that's what I was saying earlier. Nobody cares as much as you do. So just like, just taking my time and looking at things bigger. I'm even like expanding on like this current rollout as I'm taking the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's always beautiful to be patient. I think things will fall
Yeah.
into place.
And, you know, we've talked about a lot about patience, being reflective, being almost mindful. Is there anyone that sort of instilled this in you, or did you just sort of naturally find it in yourself?
Disappointment is what instilled it in me. Just being disappointed over and over. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
just kind of like having all these expectations and then them getting like taken away. Um, Eventually, you hit a point where you just kind of don't want to. You hit a point where you just don't want to be disappointed anymore. So you throw all those expectations out the window and you just kind of like get back to the root of why you do what you do in the first place. And that's what I had to do because I felt like I was losing that for a bit. So
Yeah. Well, and, a lot of artists sort of start losing touch with the more musical side and artistic side because now especially they start focusing on online presence, promoting things on social media, and they get so they get spread so thin that they sort of forget, like, hey, music's the main thing they're meant to be
yeah,
doing. what
you
do
know what?
you
Even in
what do you
addition,
think
sorry to cut
about?
you off. I
Yeah,
was
no, no,
sorry,
no.
just sorry to cut you off, but like even when you said like it's just like that music is also the thing they're supposed to be doing first. Like what people also forget is that they're people first. Like you're a
Yeah.
person first. You know what I mean? Even before music comes into play. So like people stop even caring about themselves and more so put the money above that. But yeah, sorry to cut
Yeah.
you off.
Yeah.
Yeah, finish your
Well, no,
question.
I was basically, that sort of answers the question. I was just gonna ask you about, what do you think about, it being like that, all these social medias coming up and artists focusing more on that, trying to just promote it and get themselves a name and get famous?
Yeah, I think it's exhausting, man. I think it's scary. I think it's a scary direction, if I'm being completely honest. Um, yeah, it's a very scary direction because, like, it's, hmm, I don't know. Like, as I said, people are literally putting money like before themselves. You know what I mean? And like, I'm starting to feel like everything is becoming more and more. It's being hard. It's getting hard to distinguish what's real and what's not. Like, it's starting to feel
Mhm.
like a lot more things are um structured and set up that way
Yeah.
and very rigged. And if you don't follow these set of rules, you can't get into this club or this, like,
Yeah.
and I don't mean a literal club, but um
It's just, it's hard for you to grow in this industry if you know into it.
they're making it
Like
harder on purpose, I think.
like I I think it's maybe not I don't want to say impossible, but it's very hard for an artist to grow and get a name solely based on the music they release. They need
Yeah,
online presence. They need great, great TikTok promotion, great music videos, and all of that together, being a great live artist or live band, and all of that together creates, a big name.
literally. And that's kind of why, like, man, like, being that's why I'm so grateful for my position, because being able to do what I do, um but also get the love and then also have these like really cool opportunities that are coming up. Like, I'm still independent. And like for this last rollout, I didn't even put any money behind promoting anything. So for me to be able to cut through the way that I did, and like still trying to cut through because it's still very difficult. Like, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna lie, it hasn't been like all peachy all the way through, but like to to be able to cut through a little bit, when everything, it seems like it's behind a paywall now, like to even have your followers see that you're even doing something, it's like behind a
yeah,
paywall. You got to pay promotion so that the
Yeah.
people that are already following you could see it. It's weird. They're definitely trying to keep a hand and a control on who gets out and who doesn't. It's very odd. It's very odd. Like it feels
Mhm.
that way. So I'm kind of just like trying to navigate as best as I can, and hopefully, like a lot of the great things that I try to keep all the cool things as low as quiet as possible because I don't know who's. It feels like someone's like pulling strings indoors.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it feels very fabricated these days. The whole thing, and it's hard to distinguish who's like real people and who's not.
Yeah.
So yeah.
This episode of the podcast is brought to you by W Energy. W Energy is an energy drink you mix at home from a tub. It helps you focus, it helps you concentrate, it helps you win. W is a lot like these other energy drink mix companies you see, but it's better. They have better flavors, they have better taste, they have better products. You can get Dragonade, you can get Galaxy Grenade, you can get Dub Sludge, and so many more great flavors like Beach and Peach. Once you have the powder to make one of these flavors, you can also get one of W's own shaker cups to make your drinks at home. If energy drinks aren't your thing, no worries. You can get products like stickers and clothing that look awesome. If you just want to try out W, you can go ahead and get one of their starter packs. It comes with a shaker cup and 3 flavors. On top of that, any products you get on any order from W, you can save 10% by using my discount code Heroek. That's just my name, Heroek, in all caps. One more time, that's code Heroek at w.gg for 10% off any order. Go focus, go concentrate, go in, be better. W. Working on a project or like sort of developing the next project, when you're coming up with a song, what does that look like for you? What's that creative process like?
Man, that changes all the time. And like I feel like lately it's been getting really, really cool. I really like the way I've been doing it lately where um literally images would pop into my head, like um whether that's like a picture or something or the way something is framed, or maybe I'm doing something. Maybe I'm laying with my girlfriend and we're like watching something. Like, maybe something as simple as that and I'm like, yo, this is
Yeah.
a good concept for a video. Or this is a good song. And then like I'll even like work backwards making a song. I'll think of the concept for the video first and then think of the
Yeah.
song. Sometimes I'll think of a line and then I'll expand on that line. Recently I've just been kind of writing lines down. Like I'm going through a lot of different things in my life, these past few years, and I haven't even wrote about them yet. I've only like kept down notes and ideas, and once I'm like done processing and dealing with all of these things, like then there'll be another project. But
Yeah.
as for now, it's like kind of just writing something here and there. Maybe I'll just go to my keyboard and I'll play something and then just make a beat and then like know what to rap, or literally everything, absolutely
Yeah.
everything will inspire me, or like structure a song, or inspire the foundation to what a song could be.
Mhm. And so when you're making music, do you still find that because it's so based on your experience that it's so unique and still individual to you, or do you ever look for inspiration from other artists as well?
I think that like inspiration from other artists comes naturally when I'm watching something they're doing and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that's a great idea, or like this is dope, whatever. Now I'm inspired. I want to make something. But also, I think one thing that other artists that I really like do for me is they allow me to feel okay with being who I am. You know what I'm saying? And allow me to be like, oh, like they're doing this, so I can do whatever I want,
Yeah.
basically. And everybody thinks that like there's a set, like as I said earlier, a set structure on how to do things, and for it, for you to be successful in what you're doing, or even to achieve what you're trying to do. But like nah, you could do it any way you want. You could have a rollout any way you want. You could change it up. You could switch it up. There's so many cool things to do right now. And I think people should dive deeper into that. And that's kind of all I've been doing, is diving deeper into like what I think is cool and what I love. But yeah, a lot of it is based on experience too. So like even working on a project, like luckily I have experiences and stories that I haven't shared yet, but like with a
Mhm.
lot of the earlier work, I was in the midst of high school. I was in the midst of getting out of high school, so a lot was going on at the same time. So I was able to kind of like write all the time, and I still am able to write, but like now I'm thinking bigger. I'm thinking about like how deep could I actually go? Like what have I not touched on at all in the slightest?
Yeah.
Um so now yeah, I just been kind of like living, and like life has been different for me this past year, and just experiencing different things, and I'm not even gonna say it's like better or worse. It's more so that I'm just like going through a different phase right now, or like a different experience in my life. So kind of taking it in,
Yeah.
experiencing it, and then I'll write it when it's time to tell that story. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, this is definitely going to be a hard question, so feel free to, have multiple answers, pass if you want. But
yours.
if you looked at your like release songs and you had to pick one to, like sort of try to summarize your sound or be like, this is what my music sounds like. Is there one that you would pick as like this is Claremont the Second?
Man, one song is hard. I think
We can go to
I
one project if you
one
want.
project, okay, one project I could absolutely, I would say my project Do You Drive is like is me it well, other than Full Circle, which just came out, but like my full length Do You Drive that came out 2019, that project was me rediscovering things that I used to love doing as a kid, from the video games that I was playing into the VHS tapes I was watching, and all these different elements of like my childhood, and like the music was kind of just me naturally like just going and naturally flowing, and whatever came to me I was putting down, and um even with just like the production style to like the stuff that I was listening to when I was younger, but also like being a lot more free with it and just doing what I do. I think that project as a whole is me in my like rawest form, other than Full Circle, which just came out. So Full Circle is basically it's just a prelude, and it's me basically doubling down on what I was doing in 2019, and just like at a higher rate, at a higher level.
Yeah.
I mean, and um, just being even more raw with it, just being even more dirty, just being even more, um, you know, left field, because that's what was coming to me. I'm like, nah, I want to do this now. I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna do this now, and just kind of just going and just going.
Yeah.
And then if I'm gonna like the ultimate album that I've made so far is not out yet, which is
Okay.
which is coming out next year.
It, it,
So
it
they're
it's
gonna hear
coming.
it.
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
So, once you've sort of released a song or a project, is there, anything that performed better or worse than you like thought it would? Or have you kind of, you know, been free of that since you try to throw expectations out the window?
Um, I every single time I dropped a project, I was always like, "Oh, this is gonna be the project that's gonna go viral. Like, trust this is gonna be it." And then I'm like, and then it doesn't. Then it's like, all right, so the
Yeah.
next. Then it's like, ah, this is the one for sure. And then it doesn't. It's like, okay, the next one, and it's just that process over and over. But I mean, I started getting pretty like once I started listening to myself, then I started noticing things shift. Um, one of the homies. He's basically like an older brother to me, but he was telling me like um that my albums are too slow. He loves them, but he's like they're too slow, they're too slow. And I'm like, no, they're not. What do you mean? It has this song on here and it has this song on here. But also, I'm like somebody who grew up around like gospel a lot, and R&B a lot, and soul a lot. So that was like that's the stuff I love like the most. Anything that's like melodic based, that's the stuff that I really really like. So um but or as I kept making albums and projects kept going, I just kept diving even deeper and further into like what I just love to do. And
Yeah.
um if that counts for more slow songs, then it counts for more slow songs. But I'm like, yo, this is gonna be the biggest record, trust. And the biggest record on my album in 2020, It's Not How It Sounds, was the R&B record, and that's what I thought it
Yeah.
would be. Like I'm like, this song is just, I just think it's a good song, and ultimately that's what will cut through. And when I started following kind of like what I think would actually be a big song, or one of the it's the slower ones, it's some of the slower ones. Obviously I
Yeah.
have some more aggressive and upbeat stuff too, but as you said, like the expectations for um songs going as crazy. Like I don't have them as much anymore, but I
Yeah.
also what I've realized, um, especially in 2020, is like I'm just gonna do what I do, and as long as it's good, it's going to do what it's supposed to do. And that's kind
Yeah.
of my whole, I guess, like
Yeah.
summary about that.
Yeah. And so, if you sort of got this magical opportunity to make a song with any artist in the world, who would you choose?
And I don't know. Every time I ask this question, I'm just like, oh, man, I have no idea. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have my favorite artists, like like Kendrick is one of my favorite artists. Andre 3000, maybe Andre, because he's so hard to get a hold of. I find, and like that would be something that I need to do because he's also one of those people that, um, kind of was so just like himself that like it allowed me to just kind of do what I do and just
Yeah.
like for him to start an album with a jazz ballad on The Love Below is like it's crazy
Yeah.
for someone
Like
that's like, yeah, painted as a
like
hip hop artist.
when you see that a big rapper comes out with an album, you sort of have, preconceptions of what you're gonna hear. You
Yeah,
start playing it and you're expecting like rap songs every song, like
yeah,
tracks. Depending on the artist, maybe like one or two interludes, but mostly it's that rap. And so to come out with something that probably like little to no one was expecting
yeah,
is really cool.
literally. So Andre is another one, and like Donald Glover, Charles Gambino. Um, he's another person because like out of the creator, like the thing that all these people have in common, I find is that they didn't just like only do music and they didn't stay in
Yeah.
music, but they were like directing stuff. They have TV shows. They
They
have
made it art and just
exactly,
they've become Kendrick the artist, Tyler the artist, rather than just
literally,
the, rapper, the musician, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it. They've become something so much bigger.
literally. So like it's not they don't just stay like they literally it's like they have to make art because they have to make art. Period. It's not
Yeah.
that I can't do this because it's not what I do. It's more so like, nah, if I feel like I have to do that, I'm gonna do it. So that's
Mhm.
one thing that I always appreciated about those guys. And um like man, there's just so many artists and I'm missing people, but I think like off the top
Yeah.
of my head, like and there's definitely like smaller artists I want to work with. Like there's people from here that I still haven't worked with. Like there's a rapper named KJ or K Tajuma. He's from here, one of my favorites of all time. This dude named Tamir or Clear Tamir from here, and um yeah, there's like a lot of like local.
Yeah.
There's a local artists, and then there's people overseas that I want to work with, like people in the UK. Um, yeah, there's a lot of people, man.
Yeah. And so do you have sort of a dream venue that you would love to play with your music as like a headliner?
Yeah, Scotia Bank Arena. It
Yeah.
seats like I don't know, like 19,000 people. That'd be cool. You know what? Like I think that it doesn't. I think really I could just do any. If I could do any stadium once and it's sold out and it's for my music, that would be cool. I don't need that, but I think that would be like really cool to do. Um, I don't know if there's any venues in particular. Like I don't really have a big attachment to um places or like things like
Yeah.
venues
Yeah.
like I used to. So I remember there was a time where I'm like, yo, I gotta hit this place in New York and I want to do this place in LA and I want to do this specific venue at so and so, but I don't have the
Yeah.
same. Now I'm just kind of like, all right, where can I be to execute my vision of what the show looks like? You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I mean, I recently just did a show in Toronto, the Drake Underground, that's where I had my first ever headlining show in like 2016 or so, and to do it again um this year and sell out the show, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's kind of what means more to me, and like like it for it to be like the home turf, like the home court, like this is where we started,
Yeah.
and now we're
Yeah.
back for like the bigger one. Like that's cool. That's cooler to me than like
Yeah.
do you know anything else.
Yeah. And, with all the music you have released, is there any song that you sort of have like a special attachment to or that you think is like your favorite song?
Man, I have special attachment to like
To all of them, yeah.
to all of them. Like, I mean, I think since I've been putting out music, each project has either a song or an experience that has made the whole thing kind of like ah, this is
Yeah.
nice. So like
Yeah.
even with like obviously Full Circle that just came out, like that project is super important to me as a whole because like um I was going through a lot of things and trying to really figure out what I needed to um how to I guess walk people back into like me being gone for like quite a bit. I was kind of quiet for a long time, and um, so now that I'm actually here dropping music again and kind of in the mix again is pretty crazy. So Full Circle, even the meaning of the project, you know what I mean? Full Circle,
Yeah.
doing the show at my home, the home court venue that we had the first show at, like
Yeah.
all these different parallels and stuff. It was pretty cool. And then even it's not how it sounds, like my song on their Dream that ended up being the biggest song on that project, like has done like some really, really cool things for me behind closed doors that I will be able to talk about one day. And with Do You Drive, that was me in my rawest element, like being able to be in that space, in that headspace again,
Yeah.
'cause prior to that, I had dropped Lomar from the Ave, where a lot of people have come to know me from that project. And that one was like, I would say that was probably one of my most, or my most commercially successful project. Like I had the first song to reach 1 million streams on there. I was doing shows for like the whole year after. It was the first
Yeah.
time I took a year off from dropping projects like every year. So um each of these projects kind of hold like a spot, and each song from there's like a song on each project that holds a
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
Even back to 2014, I dropped the album called Project 2, which was my second one, and there was a song on there called Flame Princess, and it ended up getting like on being on blogs and stuff like that when blogs were really
When
like
that
kind of
was the
running the
big thing.
yeah, when I was running the internet. I'm talking like, Pigeons and Planes looks um and miscellaneous other like cool coming up blogs at the
Yeah.
time. And for my song Flame Princess to have as many plays as it does, as it did back then, like that was a big feat. I remember seeing on SoundCloud I had 52K. I'm like, oh, this is crazy. It didn't do like, I think that's like still one of my most played songs on SoundCloud till this day because people don't really use SoundCloud anymore. But
Yeah.
like um yeah, at the time it was like crazy. It was like pivotal. I'm like, this is nuts. Like I actually have a chance, and nothing really took off after that. But like nonetheless, like it's still cool to like reminisce and kind of think about the
Yeah.
what was going on in the world at the time. It's a completely different place now. But that's my very long-winded answer. Sorry about that.
No, no, no problem with long-winded answers. That's what, these long form podcast content in general is for.
True.
Um, but that's also a great way to wrap it up. Those are all the questions I had for you today. Thank you so much for coming on. Where can people find you online? Your music, any socials you want to promote, anything like that. Where can people find you?
Sure. So my name is Clairmont the Second. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at CT Second. That is CTSECOND. You could also find me at grainpowered.com. That's GRAINPWRD. All my uh, merch is there. My music, videos, all of that. It's all routed through there. Um, yeah, I'm around.
Yeah,
I'm around. I'm here and there. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'll leave a link to some of that down below. Thank you so much for coming on again, and it's been a great time. I'll keep an eye out for these projects you have coming soon.
absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on this. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, for sure.